You have ideas, more ideas than most people around you. You imagine the video, the business, the book, the invention, the life you could build. But then, you postpone it. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. And eventually, your greatest ideas become nothing more than things you once imagined. But here's the uncomfortable question. What if your biggest enemy isn't laziness, but the way your intelligent mind protects you from discomfort? By the end of this video, you'll understand why creative people can become trapped inside their own potential. Why intelligence can sometimes make procrastination easier to justify. Why motivation disappears when an idea becomes difficult. And what Machiavelli's observations about human behavior can teach us about discipline, action, and power. More importantly, you'll discover a simple psychological shift that can turn an unfinished idea into something real. Because creativity gives you possibilities, but execution gives those possibilities a life. Imagine someone sitting alone at midnight. They have an incredible idea. They can already see the finished result. They imagine people watching it. They imagine success. They imagine recognition. For a few minutes, they feel unstoppable. Then they think, I'll start tomorrow. The next morning arrives. They're tired. They check their phone. They watch a few videos. They answer a few messages. They tell themselves they'll begin after lunch. Lunch becomes evening. Evening becomes tomorrow. And the strange part? They still believe they're going to succeed. They haven't abandoned the dream. They've simply abandoned the action required to reach it. Months later, they see someone else doing almost exactly what they imagined. And suddenly, the painful realization arrives. Someone else didn't necessarily have a better idea. They simply started. This is where many creative people misunderstand themselves. They call it laziness. But procrastination isn't always a lack of desire. Sometimes it's avoidance. You don't avoid something because you don't care. You avoid it because you care so much that failure becomes frightening. A creative person doesn't just imagine success. They can imagine failure in extraordinary detail too. What if people hate it? What if I'm not good enough? What if someone criticizes me? What if I spend months on this and nobody notices? And suddenly, doing nothing feels safer than finding out. Few people realize this. Perfectionism can disguise itself as ambition. You keep planning, researching, preparing, improving, waiting for the perfect moment. But preparation can become a comfortable substitute for action. You feel productive without risking the possibility of failure. And this creates one of the most dangerous psychological traps. You become addicted to potential instead of progress. Human psychology naturally tries to conserve energy. The brain constantly evaluates effort, reward, uncertainty, and risk. If an activity promises an immediate reward, it's often easier to begin. But creative work is different. You may spend hours writing with no immediate reward. You may create a video without knowing whether anyone will watch it. You may build a business without knowing whether anyone will buy. The reward is delayed, the uncertainty is high, and the effort is immediate. That's a difficult combination for the human brain. This is why distractions can become so powerful. Your phone gives you something immediately. Your dream gives you something eventually. Your brain can easily choose the immediate reward. But here's where intelligence creates another problem. Intelligent people can often generate convincing explanations. I'm still researching. I need a better strategy. The timing isn't right. I'll start when I have more energy. And because the explanation sounds reasonable, you believe it. This isn't stupidity. It's precisely the opposite. Your intelligence becomes capable of defending your avoidance. And that's why the problem isn't always a lack of knowledge. Sometimes you already know what to do. You simply don't want to experience the discomfort required to do it. Machiavelli spent much of his work examining something fundamental about human behavior. People respond to incentives. They respond to fear. They respond to rewards. They respond to consequences. And they often behave differently when circumstances change. Now apply that idea to yourself. If there are no consequences for postponing your dream, why would your brain feel urgency? If tomorrow is always available, today never feels necessary. This is why deadlines can be powerful. Not because pressure magically makes you talented, but because consequences change the psychological equation. A person who knows they must deliver tomorrow behaves differently from someone who says, "I'll do it someday." Someday has no deadline, no consequence, no urgency, and therefore, no real commitment. Machiavellian thinking reminds us that intentions alone don't create outcomes. Power belongs to action. A brilliant strategy that remains inside your head has no practical power. An imperfect strategy executed consistently can change reality. And that is the uncomfortable lesson creative people often need most. But here's what nobody tells you. You may not need more motivation. You may need less negotiation with yourself. Because every time you say, "Should I do it now?" you create another opportunity to choose comfort. And the next mistake is even worse: waiting until you feel ready. So how do you escape this cycle? Rule 1. Make the first step ridiculously small. Don't tell yourself, "I need to finish the entire project." Tell yourself, "I will work on it for 10 minutes. Don't promise to write the whole book. Write one paragraph. Don't promise to build the entire business. Document the first offer. Don't promise to produce the perfect video. Write the first 30 seconds. The goal is to defeat resistance, not complete the entire mission immediately, because starting changes your psychological state. Action creates momentum. Rule 2. Stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you'll feel inspired. Other mornings, you won't. If your productivity depends on feeling motivated, your output will constantly fluctuate. Discipline works differently. Discipline says, "I don't need to feel ready. I only need to begin." This is one reason routines are powerful. They reduce decision-making. You don't ask, "Do I feel like working?" You already decided. Rule 3. Separate creating from judging. This is especially important for creative people. Don't create and criticize simultaneously. Route first, judge later. Record first, judge later. Build first, optimize later. When you constantly evaluate your work while creating it, you interrupt your own momentum. Your first draft doesn't need to be brilliant, it needs to exist. Rule 4. Give your idea a deadline. A dream without a deadline can remain a fantasy forever. Give the project a date. Give the first version a date. Give yourself a public commitment, if appropriate. Not because you need pressure all the time, but because deadlines turn vague intention into concrete action. Rule 5. Protect your attention. You cannot produce meaningful work while constantly feeding your attention to distractions. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Move your phone away to create a focused environment. Give yourself uninterrupted time, because creativity requires attention. And attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess. But everything changes when you realize something even deeper. The real enemy may not be procrastination, it may be identity. Because if you've spent years telling yourself, "I'm a creative person, I'm a perfectionist, I work better under pressure, I have huge potential," you can become emotionally attached to the identity without producing the results. And this is where almost everyone fails. There's a psychological difference between having potential and building evidence. Potential feels good. It allows you to imagine what you could become. But evidence is uncomfortable. Evidence requires action. You have to publish something. You have to submit something. You have to launch something. You have to risk being judged. And suddenly, your imagined identity meets reality. This is why some people secretly prefer planning to execution. Planning protects the fantasy. Execution tests it. Imagine saying, "I'm going to become a writer." That feels powerful, but writing every morning for a year, that's different. Now your identity has to survive repetition. The same applies to entrepreneurs, artists, creators, researchers, students, inventors. Anyone with a vision. The fantasy of success is emotionally rewarding. The process of success is often repetitive, and repetition isn't exciting. But repetition is where mastery develops. The fear of being ordinary. Here's another hidden problem. Creative people sometimes fear that ordinary work will produce ordinary results. So they wait for extraordinary inspiration. But extraordinary outcomes often come from ordinary actions repeated for a very long time. One page, one sketch. One recording, one experiment. One improvement. Agon, agon, agon. That's not glamorous, but it's powerful. Social media creates another psychological trap. You see someone's finished product. You don't see their failed attempts. You see the successful launch. Not the months of uncertainty before it. You see the polished video, not the terrible first version. You see the successful entrepreneur, not the years of mistakes. Then you compare your beginning to someone else's highlight reel, and you conclude, "I'm behind." That feeling creates even more avoidance. But here's the truth. Your job isn't to compete with someone else's timeline. Your job is to produce evidence that you're moving. And now we reach the biggest twist. The solution to creative laziness isn't becoming a machine. It's not working 18 hours a day. It's not destroying yourself through constant pressure. The real transformation is much simpler. Stop making your identity depend on what you might become. Build your identity around what you repeatedly do. Don't say, "I'm a writer." Write, don't say, "I'm an entrepreneur." Build, don't say, "I'm a filmmaker." Create, don't say, "I'm creative." Make something, because identity becomes powerful when behavior supports it. Remember these 3 rules. Rule 1. Action. Before confidence, don't wait to become confident. Action creates evidence. Evidence creates competence. Competence creates confidence. The sequence is often the opposite of what people imagine. Rule 2. Progress. Before perfection, your first version will probably be imperfect. Good. That's what first versions are for. Improve it. Learn from it. Doctorate the second, then the third. Perfection is not the entrance fee for creativity. Iteration is rule 3. Never confuse thinking. With doing, thinking is valuable. Planning is valuable. Research is valuable. But they become dangerous when they replace execution. Ask yourself, what did I actually produce today? Not what did I think about? Not what did I plan? Not what could I do? What did you actually create? Because reality responds to action, not potential. Maybe you're not lazy. Maybe you've simply become too comfortable living inside your potential. You know what you could create. You know what you could become. You've imagined it hundreds of times. But imagination is only the beginning. One day, someone with less talent will pass you. Not because they were smarter. Not because they had a better idea. But because they were willing to be bad at something long enough to become good at it. So stop waiting for the perfect mood. Stop waiting for the perfect plan. Stop waiting to feel fearless. Start badly, start small, start today. Because your greatest idea means nothing if it never leaves your mind. And perhaps that's the most important lesson. Creativity gives you the vision. Discipline gives you the future. Don't protect your potential so carefully that you never give it a chance to become real. If this video helped you see procrastination, creativity, and discipline differently, subscribe to Mindlytic for more deep explorations into psychology, philosophy, human behavior, and personal power. And remember, the world doesn't reward the person with the most ideas. It remembers the person who had the courage to turn one idea into reality. Fade to black. Fade to black.